Satya, mind, body, spirit, health, and healing.
Let's go up. Let's go.
And I can say it's a body. I love it. I enjoy it. I'm working with it. I'm doing the best I can with it. It is slowly decaying. It's probably going to decay and die, I assume. I have no reason not to think it's not going. And the interesting question is, how do I manage that temple? Temple for consciousness. How do I take care of my body? How do I do it without being trapped by taking care of it? You will watch that the minute you get something wrong with you, your consciousness will narrow. If you're not very careful until you're busy being your symptom.
Throughout my days as a chronic pain sufferer, my identity had become insidiously intertwined with whatever ailment I happened to be experiencing at a given time. The physical pain we experience often becomes the connection point between us and others. It gives us something to talk about and a problem to solve. Whether it was back pain, shoulder pain, plantar fasciitis, my iliotibial band giving me trouble, or, in the end, a variety of horrifying pelvic pain symptoms, you could invariably find me having intense discussions about these pains with whoever would listen. As the pain increases, so does our identification with it. Our lives become completely centered around attempting to relieve and find a cure for the pain. Rather than talking to others about life, our struggles, and how we are doing, we talk about our pain. Let's face it is much easier to talk about our bodies than it is to talk about our relationship difficulties, our fears and doubts, and the infinite variety of challenges life throws our way. In this regard, the emotional aspects of our lives get left in the dust, along with our dreams and any ounce of optimism we may have had left, and our physical ailments become more and more of the reality we inhabit. We are able to soldier on in the dire circumstances we find ourselves in, and we continue to automatically repress our negative emotions like finely tuned machines. If we are completely unaware of TMS and the true nature of our troubles, this will continue indefinitely. We learn from a young age that if our bodies are hurting or broken, we can get out of doing things that we don't want to do, that we can avoid or escape situations that we find unbearable. Does faking sick in order to stay home from school ring any bells? Shit, oftentimes even when we were actually sick at home, it was preferable to being healthy at school. We also learn that simply not wanting to do something is not a good enough answer, and how we feel emotionally is rarely acknowledged, let alone empathized with. Just tough it out. This relatively innocent avoidance technique as children turns out to be real bad as we become adults, especially because we do not even realize that this is what we are doing. We unconsciously create symptoms in order to both receive much needed support and empathy from others, and also to allow us to either escape, avoid, or at least have a break from the things that we can no longer stand. As kids, we may have faked a limp or some sort of other pain or illness, but it is not long before the pain and symptoms become all too real. Imagine that you need some time off work. Now, what will be more accepted by your boss or manager? A bad back, not being able to turn your head more than 3 degrees to the right or left, or needing a surgery, or that you are feeling overwhelmed emotionally, that you are working through an immense amount of grief, fear, or anger, or that you are just too depressed or anxious. The truth is that in our capitalist, profit and progress above everything society, no one gives a shit about how you feel. Unless you are physically incapable of doing your work, don't bother asking for time off. This goes for familial, social, and cultural expectations as well. And so, we all learn that the only acceptable way to gain the love and understanding we so desire from others is to have a physical ailment or illness. It is reinforced over and over again that physical ailments and illnesses are the norm. This, mixed with the fact that our nervous systems are chronically locked in a maladapted state, sets the stage for the epidemic of chronic pain and other diseases of civilization we are currently seeing in the world.
Well, it would be what has been articulated by others before me, which is that we would look at human beings as the biopsychosocial creatures that they are, not just as biological entities with diseased organs or healthy organs, but as creatures whose biology is shaped by their psychological states and their relationships with society and other people. And then, of course, to have that perspective, one also has to factor in trauma. Trauma, as we've been talking about it, plays such a huge role in people's lives. And so if I could wave that magic wand, it would be that I have not just the medical profession, but the educational profession and the social work profession and policymakers recognize the unity of mind, body, social experience, and spirit, which is, by the way, how traditional peoples have always looked at human beings. The difference is, now we have the science to prove the truth of what they're always talking about. And so what I would want is I'd want people to become informed by modern science, as well as traditional wisdom. That would be the magic wand that I would wave in fact with.
That's awesome. It's a treat. It's better than that chocolate was.
If this video struck a chord and you would like to further explore the ideas contained within, please head to howtosayfupolitely.com, where you will find the original written version as well as an audio format of the blog from which it was derived, entitled, "You Have Told Me How Your Body Feels. How Do You Feel?" You will also find a wealth of other healing, information, and resources. The Love Enlighten Me honors and acknowledges the Love Enlighten You. Until next time, love your struggle and remain free.